So if we can start with a roll call, please.
Commissioners Concepcion Harris, Howard Harris,
Present.
Hearns, Kiefer, Lawson, Vice Chair Moulton. Here. Chairman Derryberry.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, do we have Pastor Michael Richardson here today? Yes. Thank you so much for coming.
As we pray, all heads bowed. Father God, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we thank you for allowing us to be here today. We're asking, Lord, that you allow our hearts and minds to be with one accord, that you guide the vision and the clarity of this group of people so that they may do what you have called for them to do. Open up opportunities and resources, Lord, so that they can absolutely carry out your will in a magnificent way. Have your way over every person represented here under the sound of my voice. A special blessing over their family and their friends. We ask, Lord, that you continue to allow them to do what they have been called to do, to stand firm and to stand for what is right. All this we ask in Jesus' name we pray. Thank God. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, now please remain standing or sort of the Pledge of Allegiance. After me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now we'll go ahead and move into public business from the floor. This is a time for citizens who would like to address the Lancaster Neighborhood Vitalization Commission on any agendized items. To speak on an item, please pick up a speaker card in the back. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Do we have any speakers today?
We have no speaker cards.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the consent calendar, which is just to approve the commission meeting minutes from May 1st of 2012. You guys all had an opportunity to review those?
Yes.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, and you can go ahead and take a vote. Okay, it passes. Okay, so now we'll move into our presentations. Today, obviously, with given the holiday, we're having a pretty short meeting, so I'm sure everyone here is pretty excited about that. Today we have Tiara from the Hill Zone Partnership Project. So we'll go ahead and ask her to come and give us a presentation on Hill Zone.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Tiara Sigron, and I'm the Program Development and Evaluation Specialist at AVPH. And I'm going to introduce Jean Varden. She's going to be doing most of the presentation. She's actually our school coordinator for the Heal Zone Partnership Grant.
Thank you. Hi, thank you for letting us come to let you know more about the Heal Zone Partnership. I'll just say a little bit about myself. I worked for Lancaster School District from 95 to 2002 when I retired, and I've been on the board of AVPH since 1999. And when this project came along, we didn't get the amount of funding that we had originally asked for. They gave us a little bit of a scaled-down project, but we're happy with it because it does give us a good opportunity to do something that is different in this community, and we feel that if we do a good job and show results, there's a good chance that Kaiser will continue to fund us or maybe even expand our funding. So since we couldn't hire a full-time person and I had already established the relationships with the school district, they asked me to be that coordinator, and it's a pleasure for me to do this work because it's kind of a culmination of what I really believe in for kids and for my own family and myself as well. So, oh, okay, thank you. All right, so the Heal Zone partnership includes primarily Antelope Valley Partners for Health, the City of Lancaster, and Lancaster School District, Kaiser Permanente, and then we say the Kaiser Permanente Foundation, and then our community residents. The project location, they asked us to confine our work to a neighborhood of not more than 20,000 people. We discussed this among ourselves and with our board and also with the school district, and decided on the corridor that goes between Avenue I and Avenue H, and includes the school neighborhoods of Desert View, Mariposa, Paiute, and Linda Verde. Now, as you can see, Linda Verde school itself is not right in that corridor, but a lot of their families are. And so that kind of made a nicer continuity if we included that school as well. The overall objective is to promote wellness and prevent disease caused by physical dysfunction that cause decreased physical function and premature death. Now that's the theoretical purpose. We have a mission statement that is much more applied, and I don't have this memorized, so I'm going to have to look over here, but this mission statement was actually fashioned by our Heal Zone Coalition, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. The Heal Zone, the Lancaster Heal Zone Partnership will create an environment in the Heal Zone schools and neighborhoods that promotes, encourages, and supports healthy eating choices and active living for children, families, and adults. And if we can be successful in making real change in among children and families in this neighborhood, and reinforce it with policies both at the school district and city level, then we would have a chance to replicate what we learn from this, what works well in other schools in Lancaster. And we've already had other schools bring it up and say, oh, we're just as needy as this area, why didn't you look at us, you know? And but they feel a little better when we say, well, what works, we will have an opportunity to expand to your neighborhood as well. These are just some statistics to provide some background to why Kaiser was interested in this whole idea. 1 in 3 U.S. adults are overweight or obese, more than half of all California adults. 1 in 3 California teens, and 1 in 9 California children. And in the Antelope Valley, or in the whole service planning area 1, which goes kind of towards Acton as well, 21% of children are overweight, and adult obesity is about 28%. And the population, is that the population in the whole Antelope Valley or in the Heal Zone? Okay. The costs annually for treating overweight and obesity-related illnesses are estimated to be $78 billion, and $7.7 billion in California. So there's a big incentive statistically. This is just an interesting one that we wanted to add in, just for your information. Less than half of 9 to 11-year-old children in California are currently meeting what is considered a healthy guideline of 60 minutes of active physical activity per day. And we do, as you know, there are requirements that school districts are supposed to follow regarding physical education. It's 200 minutes every 10 days for elementary, and 250 for middle school. Now, in the middle school, this happens because it's a separate class. But in elementary, in the past I would say 5 to 8 years. The actual structured physical education program has really become weak, and there's no accountability method at the state level for that right now, so it's just sliding by. And part of the reason is this huge emphasis on academic achievement and schools being held accountable for students performing well on the achievement tests. So it's like teachers will say, well, it doesn't fit in the school day. I have to do so many minutes of reading, I have to do so many minutes of writing, I have to do math, science, and there's just no time left for physical education. Well, fortunately, and I understand their dilemma. Fortunately, there's some very recent research, excellent research that was over a 5-year period that in about 7 school districts across the United States that demonstrated conclusively that decreasing the classroom time in reading and writing or math to take time for physical education did not affect the achievement scores in a negative way. No school level went down after that policy was instituted and strictly adhered to as far as the number of minutes, and more than half of the schools actually increased in their school achievement. So I think that kind of gives our teachers and our principals permission now to take that time. So that's helpful to us too. Now, there's also another aspect to this, and that is Kaiser and other medical facilities can have, in the past, taken the approach that working with individuals is their best way to affect change in physical wellness. So counseling, medication, telling people to eat better, encouraging exercise, all of those things, even offering classes. But they've learned that alone is not going to be the answer. That what we have to do is look at our whole environment in our community and look at those things that we can do on a broader scale that will make it easier for people to eat healthy and be active. So that's an approach in this project that's slightly different. And we'll talk more about what some of those things are in a minute. Just quickly, the broad goals that Kaiser has is that we'll decrease the consumption of food high in calories, salt, and fat, that will increase consumption of healthy food and beverages, and increase physical activity in schools and neighborhoods. I'm going to skip this one and go on and explain a little bit more about what, explain in less formal terms about what we're trying to accomplish. When I started observing at these 4 schools and talking with the people at the school district, our child nutrition services director, what I learned is, and I knew some of this had happened, but I think it was about 3 years ago that the USDA changed the requirements for school lunches. So at that time, schools were required to serve more fresh fruits and vegetables, and to decrease the salt and fat content of the food, and to adhere to an offering that was not more than a certain amount of calories per age that's appropriate for each age level that we're serving. When I was observing, what I saw was that we had healthy meals put before the kids, but in many cases, a lot of the food was going in the trash. And one day, at one of the schools, they had a very nice fruit basket, like apples and bananas and some pears. And each child selected the one they wanted, and I would say that 60 to 70% of those went in the trash, not even touched. And I saw the same thing repeated in other schools, or kids not finishing their lunch. So what we realized is that we didn't need to look at what was being served as much as we did figure out why kids were throwing it away, and how do we get kids more interested in eating healthy food. Now, some of it may be how we serve it, and so we are working on that, making it look more appealing, and maybe cutting up an apple for kindergartners to second grade rather than giving them a whole apple, little things like that. One school, the noon duty aides, had noticed the same thing, so when I brought it up, they said, oh, we have an idea, and they wanted to give kids little reward tickets if they finished their meal, and then when they collected a certain number, they got a prize out of a little treasure box. They got to pick a simple prize. Well, the principal said within a week they had, drastically increased the number of kids finishing their lunch. So I think there's a lot of little things we can do, teachers talking it up, kids learning why they're eating, what they're eating, what it does for them, making it more a part of the school day rather than you just go in there and sit down and have it before you, so that it's really an experience that they understand why they're doing it, and that finishing is the norm rather than throwing things away. So I feel encouraged that we can make that improve, and we're going to do taste testing, show kids about, like next year, the requirements are even more strict as far as dark green vegetables and dark orange vegetables. And what's on the dark green list is spinach, collard greens, mustard greens, watercress, things that kids are really not familiar with. So we're going to have to do some work maybe to try to get kids to taste them before they go to the cafeteria. So those are just examples of what we'll be doing. Did you have a question? Oh, okay.
I was just thinking, I have a 5-year-old, and if you could come to my house and teach her how to eat some of these things, I would be very thrilled.
It's not easy, is it? No. And what we're hoping is that the crowd effect will work positively as well as it works negatively, because the ladies that work in the cafeteria tell me if one child, say the classroom is lined up there to get their food, and one child says, ooh, yuck, then nobody passes down the line and nobody wants to taste it. So we want to do the opposite and make it, oh, look, this is good, and why don't you try it, sort of thing. And I think it's doable. We just have to concentrate on it. So hopefully maybe some parents who have more picky eaters will have better luck at home after we establish some of this, because I know what that's like from raising my own kids. Some kids will try anything, and some kids just won't, so we have a bit on our hands there. And then we just had some pictures of what this might look like, too, getting the neighborhood involved in physical activity. That's another of our goals. Making it easier, and we're doing some focus groups, finding out what people are doing now, what's the barrier for them exercising, and we don't have all the results of that out yet, but then we'll be tackling those, kinds of things. And some of it is overcoming perceptions of safety. I think we have very beautiful parks in Lancaster. When I'm driving around to the schools, I'm just impressed with how the parks look. We want people to feel totally safe in using them, and I think they are pretty safe, but there's often a perception that they're not. So these are some of the environmental things that we're tackling to try to make change. A safe walk to school program. So getting kids, instead of mothers driving their kids 3 or 4 blocks to school, organizing a safe walk program. So that's a little bit of exercise at the beginning of the day. Doing physical activities that are fun for kids, and activities in PE where nobody's standing around, everybody's busy at once. So the 20 to 30 minutes that they have is really well used. It's an example of that kind of activity where everybody's occupied. And then these are just some pictures of how a appetizing school lunch might look. And it might take us a while to get to this, but we're going to be working on it. Oh, school gardens. This is a fun thing. Two schools, Mariposa and Paiute, want to do school gardens, and we have a little start on that. We have 5 big trailer loads of manure that was delivered to Mariposa School this last week, and in the summer, the groundspeople are going to water that for us and rototill it, so it'll be ready to start a garden in September, and we'll do as much as we can with the the winter vegetables, and then we'll really go full force in the spring. So this will be another opportunity for kids to learn about where food comes from and increase their interest. And a little lead up to it is that we're doing, there was a small group at Mariposa called themselves Green Team Mariposa, and they wanted to get the garden going this year, but we just were not able to do it. So they're coming to the Wellness House every Tuesday. I met with them this morning, and we have 2 plots kind of this size, and they've already planted things that are from seed that are sprouting. So they were really excited, and they're learning about how the soil has to be prepared, how long it takes for germination, how long before the plants mature. And these are mostly 6th graders, and it's just fun because it's new to them, but at that age they're really interested. So one little boy said this morning, "Oh, I can't wait until our chard and tomatoes are ready because I want to make a salad for my little sister." So if we can make that kind of enthusiasm grow, I think, and help people learn how, we want to do classes in the neighborhood as well, to help people learn how they can grow small amounts of things in their own backyard. My colleague Elizabeth O'Brien, who used to be with Children's Bureau and is retired, got her certificate as a master gardener, so she's helping us with that project. Just some other pictures of gardens. And then this is helping kids learn about healthy cooking. And University of Antelope Valley and other chefs in town are going to be helping us with some of that. Here's a garden behind one of the wellness houses. Oh, in fact, that is Mariposa. That was probably from last year, yeah. Okay, so this is kind of a summary of what we want to do. Strategies that have a broad reach, include a lot of people, and are known to be successful, and then sustaining those strategies through either strengthening existing policies or enforcing existing policies. Like one example of that is that the school district has had a policy in place for about 3 years regarding fundraisers and rewards and celebrations, that it has to be healthy food, and it's not currently being enforced. So that's an example of how we would improve that, and then doing all kinds of things to educate and promote what we're doing. So this we had up for when we were first meeting with people who might be on our coalition, and I'd just like to tell you about that. It's important to us that we have community representation on our coalition. They will be looking at our action plan, helping us monitor the progress, and giving input as to their opinions about what could work better, or what is working, celebrate the successes and improve what's not working. And anyone in the community is welcome to call us about being a member of the coalition. So if you yourself or another community member would like to join us, we're right now meeting once a month. When we really get the project underway, we'll probably be meeting every other month. So the coalition will be our guiding force or committee. Yes.
First of all, I'd like to say that this is an outstanding program. I know that our First Lady really is a champion for healthy eating and healthy practices for children. And I only wish that it had been out when I was a child, as opposed to eating Twinkies and Ding Dongs. I could have selected an apple and would not have had the struggle I have right now. But so I thank you for that. I have two things, not really questions, but maybe something that you might want to consider if it hasn't already been, and that is to take into consideration the different cultures.
Yes.
And having that be a learning experience for the kids, because when you mention greens, that's not really foreign to African American youth, because that's what we eat at home a lot of times.
Yes.
So that could be something to...
Right, thank you for bringing that up,
absolutely.
because that is really important. Because there are lots of healthy things in the various cultural cooking practices, and we really need to take advantage of that.
Yes, and then finally, considering the family, because I know as a probation officer, we do great work with youth, especially when they're in institutions, but then we have to send them right back home to the same environments. And so I think to have that approach of addressing, yes, the children, but also the families of these children will help to sustain these changes.
Yes.
So, but I say bravo.
Thank you, yes, for that.
what you do.
That is important. And we are hoping to reach out to the families in the neighborhood through the wellness houses. This group knows about the wellness houses.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Did I miss anything? Okay.
Well, you're actually lucky today, because we have two people on our commission here, one from Kaiser and the other, obviously, Michelle from AV Partners for Health, that aren't here, so you get to take all the credit for all the hard work. I will say that, I guess I'll pose the question. What can the city do? I know we've got this great partnership with the wellness houses, which I think ties in very well with your program.
Yes.
What can we do as the city with what you're offering? How could we be of further assistance? Obviously, we want an open stream of communication. That's why we've invited you here, because we feel that your program is tremendously important. As Commissioner Hearns had mentioned, it's spectacular what you're doing. I don't think, I know as a child, my mom would pack my lunch, and she'd ask me every day if I ate my apple, and I would have to sit there at the table and eat it as quick as possible, because the other kids would make fun of me as they were eating the Twinkies and the Ding Dongs. And so these programs are incredibly important. I know with somebody with little ones, it's hard enough to get them to eat the asparagus for dinner. So, if you can get them to do it at school, it'd make things easier. So, again, I guess, what can the city do? What ideas do you have that we could be of assistance for?
Well, one thing that is really a big factor in this, I think, is something that's already in motion, and that's the Trails and Bikeway project. And of course, I don't know all the ins and outs. I know some about it. I've been to some of the meetings. It would be my hope that there could maybe be some preference when it comes to having the money to implement parts of it. If it could start in this neighborhood during the same time we're doing all these other things, I think it would give us a nice picture of what the benefits can be. So because that's really part of, that is a big environmental change, making walking and biking a safe activity for people. When I have done focus groups, most people either say that what they're doing for exercise, some of them are doing things, at home to videos and so forth, which is really good, but most people are saying walking, running, or biking. So I think it's a big thing, that project, which is already underway, and I'm just hoping it can keep moving along. The coordination with the Safe Walk to School, that will require the city's help, and the city's already done some things on that by improving safety, structural safety between neighborhoods and schools. And then I think the park situation. However we can work together to make sure the parks are safe during the day and in the evening. I don't see any problems during the day, but evening, people tell me differently. Unfortunately, that's not something I have checked out. And that we can work together to change the perception. If the safety is there, let's do some kind of neighborhood activities together that we can convince people that they can be using those parks.
Absolutely.
Any other thoughts?
One of the things you mentioned was one of the parents or someone had come up with an idea of giving them money to spend if they ate all their vegetables. And, having 3 kids that are grown, they're always looking for a caveat. They always want something for doing something. And that sounded really good as far as giving them some kind of a bonus if they eat all their vegetables. I mean, I grew up in Louisiana where the principal walked around and made sure you ate all your vegetables.
Oh, interesting.
But nonetheless, if we could just generate something there, because kids always want something.
Yes.
And if they know if they eat all their vegetables, they're going to get something. What that is, maybe spending some lucky bucks or something is a good incentive for them to eat it. Because having it on the plate and them not eating it is not working.
Right, exactly. Okay, thank you for the reinforcement in that, because I think it is going to take those kinds of tactics to get it going. And who knows, maybe after they do it a few times, they'll actually like it. It'll change their perception of the food, too. Yeah.
Well, Jan, thank you so much for coming. Again, on behalf of the city, we appreciate everything that you're doing. Anything we could be of assistance, you're always welcome back to come to this meeting.
Yes.
Whatever we can do, let us know.
If we notice something that we would like to work on, we could come back and bring it up to you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll let you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move into the next part of the meeting, which will be short and sweet because it's just me, and I know you guys all are sick of hearing me talk. So, back a few months ago, the mayor approached our commission with an idea that he heard about at a conference he went to. And he thought it was something that we really tied in well with our wellness homes, and it's this a company called Asthmopolis. And what it is they have a program where they monitor inhaler use by asthmatics. For those of us that aren't in the medical profession, obviously the people that could speak on this aren't here, but as someone with a brother who was asthmatic and watched the use of an inhaler, what they do is they tie the use of an inhaler to basically a program that's on a device that they can tell when and how often somebody uses their inhaler to try to monitor when the next attack is going to come. If it happens in a certain geographic area because they're at a park and they're exercising and they don't know, or if they're at a particular place, it monitors everything. The program is something that obviously has an expense. Last week, the city, Patty Garibay, Calvin Tiana Tango, Michelle Kiefer, and I, we sat on a conference call with the creator of this program as to how we can implement it in this area. And I think ultimately what was my resolution from the meeting was that the city of Lancaster could definitely benefit in that the citizens would have a program that they could use, at least the asthmatic people in this area. However, it was something that I felt we could as the city get behind, but we need to start essentially a coalition. We need to get people excited about it. This is the community-based organizations, the hospitals, because they're the ones that are being financially burdened by what's going on. I mean, if you talk, my wife's an ER nurse. If you ask her, how many kids did you have come in today? This asthma was out of control, and their numbers are really quite interesting because we've talked about this exact program. So the idea is that this would take some of the burden off of the emergency rooms, off of the doctor's offices, because they would be able to monitor really why and how these the asthma is being try to find a control for it, basically. So what I envision is we're trying to bring together a representative from Asmopolis and to come and give us a presentation in person or via Skype or something. That way we can see really how it works. And also at this meeting, I'd like to invite our local partners, the people that we think would benefit from this, to try to create a partnership, try to create a coalition to bring something like this to this area. They've got pilot programs they've done in, I think, Louisville. I think they're working with Sacramento. So, I mean, it would be, again, tying in where we can bring them into the wellness homes, into the hospitals, where we can monitor what's going on, and some people don't know why they have asthma attacks, but maybe it's something that with the assistance of this program they could figure it out. And again, it would take the stress off of many entities in this area. So we don't have anything set in stone as of yet. The creator of this device was really open to either being here by video, potentially being here by person. They're doing a lot of work in Sacramento. They have a lot, and the good thing is they have a lot of relationships with various different entities that maybe the city of Lancaster doesn't currently. So we can use that relationship with them to bring more support to our area. So again, this presentation is just meant to provide you guys with a little bit of insight into the future, and this is that probably, hopefully in a few months, maybe the last quarter of the year, we're gonna have maybe a special meeting and try to bring in all of our community support to show everyone how interesting this idea is and how beneficial it could be. I mean, of course, they have their statistics about how much money it saves, both on a state level from from those that use Medi-Cal and those services, and even from an insurance level for Blue Crosses and the Kaiser Permanentes and all of those entities, how much money they would save, and then how much really the hospitals would save about the visits that people are forced to go to that they can't afford to pay for the visit and that aren't on a public assistance, and they don't have insurance. And so it's a widespread benefit to be able to avoid these issues. And if anyone who's been around somebody who's asthmatic, it's really a frightening thing to watch somebody who can't breathe. So it's a neat program. I know the mayor's really excited about it. So we're going to see what we can do to bring some support. So that was my 2 cents. Patty, do you have anything to add?
And obviously we'll have a lot of people that we're inviting to that. Obviously you guys would also be invited to participate, and just like Steve mentioned, we hope to garner some support for it. It is a good idea, but obviously it would require more than just us. We would need a lot of people to work on it, so that's where we'll probably start, and then just see how it all works out here in Lancaster.
See, the per-use cost of the device is actually pretty nominal. There's a fee to get the device that attaches to the inhaler, and that sends information through the web, basically, for us that aren't really techie, and then it's recorded in a database, and then you have a patient file, and it records every time you use the inhaler. It's got a GPS system, so if I used it every time I sat down in the chair here, they probably think I was too stressed out to come to the meetings. So the idea is that it records all the information, and it's not incredibly expensive for the device, but there is a monthly charge and things, and we're trying to find a way to do it for those that obviously they can't afford to pay for it. The data that they have is really quite amazing. And they have a pretty high success rate to be able to it will tell you when you're going to basically have your next attack. Yeah, it gives you a little bit of control over something that typically is 100% out of your control, and when you have an asthma attack. I mean, and obviously, I kind of interpreted the owner was probably an asthmatic that is probably a brainiac, and so he's got a PhD and I don't remember the exact science, but it was basically he's gone through all of his school to focus on this particular subject. So, so this is all of his research and years of research, and his passion is to be able to cure something that's essentially incurable, but something that's controllable.
Is the Antelope Valley still a place where they send a lot of people for asthma because of the dryness?
You know, it's you know, I can say that was kind of when I lived by the beach as a child. When my brother and my mother moved us up here, they said, "Oh, your asthma is going to be better because it's how dry it is." But it was worse for him. So but that is I guess a rumor. I don't know, you know, any I can't say whether or not that's true or not. But I mean, it's definitely the dry weather. I know is typically better for the lungs and things, but. You know, I guess, you know, the idea is that maybe this device could tell us, you know, why or how. So it's something that, you know, we'd like to at least get some more information about, and the city wants this commission to be involved. So we're gonna work towards that.
One other thing, if I may, we are planning to have a presentation by LA County Public Health, and they're going to talk about what the major, you know, what things people suffer from here in the Antelope Valley more than other places, and actually asthma is one of them. So asthma, diabetes, there's a couple different things, but they're working on a presentation for us to talk about what are some of the reasons for that, and you know how this all ties together, basically.
Okay. So we'll keep you guys up to date. I don't obviously anticipate August. You know, maybe September at the earliest, but more likely probably October to the end of the year. And you know, you guys can kind of hear some of the stuff that we heard last week. So we'll go ahead and move on to new business, which I suspect, Patty, you're going to give the presentation. We have our Unite update and selection of us commissioners, which unfortunately there's only 4 today, so we can nominate the other 3 to evaluate and judge the 2012 Unite application. So we'll go ahead and have Patty give us the presentation on that.
I'm actually just going to do the presentation from here. I did want to share that we were very successful in recruiting this year. We collected 9 applications, and they're actually very strong applications. In the past, some of them have been, better than others, but this year we definitely got really, really good applications, and they kind of run the gamut of, things that are focused in education, things that are focused in the neighborhoods, a little bit of everything. So we're very happy about that. I did want to share the Unite calendar to just talk about some of the things that we'll be working towards in the next couple of months. The one thing that we hope to do tonight is to get 2 of our commissioners to participate on our interview panels and help in selecting our final projects that we end up doing for Unite. And we hope to have those interviews July 16th through the 19th. We hope to make our final recommendation sometime at the end of July, and then August 7th, which is our next meeting, we'll actually announce our winners out to the public and let all of our project managers come here and share a little bit about what each of their projects will do here in the community. And then finally, Unite Lancaster Day will be September 22nd. So we hope to have all of you present at that event. And like I said, we will have to have a motion to get 2 people secured as our panelists. So our judges for our panel. There we go.
Now, you said July 16th through the 19th was judging. The 7th was selection of the winner. And what was the other date?
And September 22nd is the actual Unite Lancaster Day.
You probably have a calendar.
Yeah, you have a calendar, right?
Yeah, right here.
Oh, okay. All right, all you have to do is look through your paperwork.
I personally would love to be on the interview panel. I will be out of town that week, so I'll open it up to the 3 of you that are present here at the meeting. If there are scheduling conflicts, then we'll have to, I guess, open it up to the commissioners that aren't here. Do I have 2 volunteers?
I would love to, but I'll be out of state myself.
Okay. And something I will do, because I think it's very important to get all of your feedback just in general on our projects. After this meeting, I'm going to send all of you our applications that were received, because I would love to hear, what your general thoughts are about the projects. And even if you aren't necessarily on the interview panel, you can still give us your feedback.
And who else will be on the panel, just to let us know?
Sure. It's going to be 2 of our Safer Stronger Neighborhoods committee members, and then either myself or Kelvin or Brenda, and then 2 of our 2 commissioners.
What time are we? Well, let's see here. I can make the 16th and the 17th, I think.
And you don't have it narrowed down to which day. It's just that it's going to be that week, right?
Right. It's that week, and we're pretty flexible. So, I mean, usually what we probably do is just have figure out what your schedules are, what works best for our commissioners, and then work from there. Our city schedules are pretty flexible, or we can figure out how to make it all work. But you can tell us, in advance if mornings are better, afternoons.
Okay, why don't you contact me via email, and I'll try to make myself available during that week.
Okay.
Yeah, I can be available that week, too.
Well, I think we hopefully found our two. So you said we need a motion for the appointment. I'll go ahead and make the motion to appoint Commissioner Howard Harris, and Commissioner Vice Chairman Moulton to sit on the interview panel for the Unite program. So
We
just
need a
I'll take a second.
I second it.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take a vote. Okay, the motion carries. Okay, anything else on that the Unite program, Patty?
No, just thank you for your support and obviously for helping us with the town hall meeting and just helping us to get the word out about the program. It really did help, and like I said, getting some really good projects and things that I think will make a really big impact in the community. So.
Great tie-in, because now we're to the next part of the
El Dorado.
the next part of the meeting is our El Dorado Town Hall meeting update, which is by you as well, Patty.
Yeah, and again, I just wanted to take a couple minutes to share some information for everyone that participated in the event. I think we had a pretty successful town hall meeting. We had a really good turnout, and again, thank you for the support on that event. I think, overall, the tone of the event was pretty positive. You're always going to have people that have, negative things or maybe not so positive things to say, but overall I thought it was pretty positive, and I think that the community responded really well, and that they see that the city and the Sheriff Department are really, we really value people's opinions, and that we're really interested in really cleaning up the El Dorado neighborhood. Obviously, the Sheriff Department and city had already gone in there and done some work. Now we're continuing with that. And actually, one of the things that we're working on now is with Lita Rico and a couple of different staff people here at City Hall. We think it'd be really valuable to continue our work by providing our community-based organizations with a resource or a place where they can meet once a week or provide resources to the community, so that maybe if people aren't comfortable coming to their nonprofits, to their locations, they can come to a park or they can come to a school and get information about different things, whether that be a sheriff program or something else that could be that could be of assistance to them. So that's what we're working on now. Sheriff's Department is still there, and I don't know if Lee, you wanted to give an update on what they're doing right now.
Yeah, I think the thing, they've maintained the presence in the core team. That's actually the deputies that were just here before. That's why I was absent at the beginning of the meeting, just to talk about some structural things we're doing there. I will tell you the one thing that was nice in the meeting, that the issues that were discussed, although they're quality of life issues, they're probably pretty low on the scale of danger issues as it's related in the area that we were dealing with several months prior. So I think there's, we've kind of dealt with the major issues that we had there, and they've maintained that presence. I believe, the neighborhood, you can see a visible change. I think the direction we're going now, what Patty was just discussing, was we want to be able to bring service organizations and the county agencies and state agencies into the area for people that don't have the ability to travel to those offices or don't have the desire to, but they still have issues there. And then some of that came out with the surveys we did, services they wanted. That was a great turnout, by the way, for all those community organizations. I've never seen that many groups participate in one event like that in one neighborhood. So hopefully we'll continue that as we move through this process throughout the city. I think the next focus for us is now the quality of life issues that deal mainly with code enforcement issues or some of the visible things that we need to deal with there. We've already had a relationship with some of the apartment complexes that border on Lancaster Boulevard where they've already either rehabbed their properties or are in the process of doing that. Now we need to just kind of extend that out through the single-family home areas and just basically kind of work together with AV High School's been a model for a year of a complete turnaround model at that school to establish people in the neighborhood there to take ownership of the community and their school and their city. So we want to keep that theme going as we process this.
Great.
I think we're good. We're trying to figure out where's the best location that's convenient, like the Neighborhood Impact Home is in a great location, but that's already been occupied by a group. So we're looking at other alternatives so we can provide that, because it's a pretty good walk to to some, like the schools at one end, and we have schools at both ends of the neighborhood. We really don't have anything that's centrally located, so that's what we're looking for now.
Great.
And then the Unite program will also serve as an opportunity to clean up the neighborhood. And actually, a lot of our applications were from people in that neighborhood. We ended up opening it up to the entire community, but a lot of the applications received were for El Dorado specifically. So that will also help in cleaning up that neighborhood.
That's great.
That's it.
Great. Brenda, any more staff updates?
Yes, actually. In following up what Jean Arden said, we did approve the budget last meeting, the council did, and that does include a lot of the master plan for trails projects. And each time the budget's approved, we're going to put that as a priority per the city manager and the council. So we are working towards what they're asking and what we worked actually in combination with AVPH to approve the master plan for trails.
That's great.
So, yeah. So lots of help, hopefully, in the city. Other things, we had the large press conference, the manufacturing plant. It's Morton, so I don't know if you heard about that, but that's huge for a city, bringing lots of jobs here. We had the the Energy Globe Award. If you haven't heard about that, that's very exciting because that's international, and that's to do with all our solar projects and energy projects. So we're now international, or continuing to be internationally recognized. We had the Eat Up Press Conference, so that's a upscale catering company that is now on our boulevard and servicing our community. We had the AVTA 20th anniversary celebration, so they've been in existence for 20 years serving our community with transportation needs, and continue to develop and hopefully continue to work with us through our JPA agreement. We have fireworks tomorrow over at the fairgrounds, free to everybody. Be safe, go enjoy at the venue that's being provided, and don't use our streets and neighborhoods to do that. We're hoping to encourage the public to be safe. Not you guys, we know that you're going to be safe, but the public also, we're going to have sheriffs and fire out there everywhere, so be safe throughout and know that they're going to be out there watching and helping our community. We also have two things that are continuing. We have the farmers market every Thursday, and we have the concert series all summer long every Thursday. So we encourage everybody to come out and enjoy. Then we also have for people that don't have air conditioning or want to save on their air conditioning bills to come on out to MOA, our newest venue here on the boulevard, for the cooling center. It's open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So we encourage everybody to come and enjoy that. It's at the museum on the boulevard, MOA. It's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And there's arts and crafts there. There's refreshments free of charge. You just have to come in, sign in. You get a little energy efficiency information while you're there. That's Edison's portion because they're paying for it for us. And it's free to the city, free to citizens. And that's it.
It sounds like the city's been as busy as I've been in the past month, so that's pretty evident. So thank you for everything. Although I don't see any audience members I anticipate are going to speak, but I'm still obligated to do this. We requested any person who would like to address the Lancaster Neighborhood Vitalization Commission on non-agendized matters to complete a speaker card, and you will find speaker cards in the back table of the council chambers. Additionally, we respectfully request that you fill the cards out completely and print as clearly as possible so that if necessary, the commission or city staff will be able to contact you by phone or mail. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. When you approach the podium, please notice there are 3 lights. The green light comes on when you begin. The yellow light comes on when you have 30 seconds remaining. and the red light will come on when your 3 minutes are up. We ask that you be considerate of the allotted time to allow other speakers to have their 3 minutes as well. Following this procedure will allow for a smooth and timely process for the commission meeting, and we appreciate your cooperation. State law prohibits the Lancaster Neighborhood Vitalization Commission from taking action on items not on the agenda, and your matter will be referred to staff. Although I think I know the answer, do we have any speaker cards?
No speaker cards.
Okay, any comments from the commission? Thank you three for coming, and it is 3 minutes after 5, and we're adjourned.